Jesus is a symbol of peace. He gives us peace through storms, through troubles, whenever we go through trials, wherever we go through hard times. He is there to give us peace. Sometimes what can happen though is the enemy can trick us into thinking that Jesus doesn't offer all this. He doesn't help us, he doesn't want us to help us, that sort of thing, but that is all a lie. Now I'm going to read you two stories. So the first one is in Mark chapter 4, and this is from verse 35. Verse 35. On the same day when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us cross over to the other side." Now when they had left a multitude, they took him along in the boat as he was, and other little boats were also with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves beat into the boat, so that it was already filling. But he was in stern, sleeping on a pillow. And they awoke him and said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" Then he arose and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." And the wind ceased, and there was great calm. But he said to them, "Why are you so fearful? How is that you have no faith?" And they feared exceedingly and said to one another, "Who can this be?" And even the wind and the sea obey him. So when we go through difficult times, and it turns into kind of like a panic, and we get worried and stuff like that, which what happened there when it came for the sea, okay, is kind of a different situation, but it works as a great metaphor, is the fact that they lost trust in him and didn't believe that they thought that, they were going to see their deaths, and Jesus led them to their deaths. But obviously he said to them, "Why are you so fearful? How is it that you have no little faith?" So when we shouldn't be feeling fear, because Jesus has everything planned for us. God has everything planned for us. So when we go through these difficult times, God isn't going to allow us to drown in those waters. He's not going to allow us to drown in those waters. Those waters are there to help us. When we go through trials, it's to help us build faith and to build our character, but he will never let us drown. Now the next one, this one is Matthew chapter 14, and this is from verse 25. And it says, "Now in the fourth watch of the night, Jesus went to them walking on the sea. And when the disciples saw him walking on the sea, they were troubled, saying, 'It's a ghost,' and they cried out for fear. But immediately Jesus spoke to them, saying, 'Be of good cheer, it is I, do not be afraid.' And Peter answered him and said, 'Lord, if it is you, command me to come to you on the waters.' So he said, 'Come.' And when Peter is come down out of the boat, he walked on the water to go to Jesus. But when he saw that the wind was boisterous, he was afraid, and beginning to sink, he cried out, saying, 'Lord, save me.' And immediately Jesus stretched out his hand and caught him and said to him, 'Oh, you of little faith, why did you doubt?' And when they got into the boat, the wind ceased." So in that moment, Peter noticed how windy it is, and then he started panicking, and that's when he drowned. So at that moment, he got distracted, and the wind kind of got distracted by the wind, and then that ended up drowning. And the whole point of this is we're supposed to, during these difficult times, to focus on Jesus. As I said before, Jesus literally is peace. He has everything sorted for us. We don't need to worry. We don't need to panic. When we do go through these times of panic or, of worry, if we focus on Jesus, as I said, Jesus, when we focus on Jesus, he will calm the waters. He will calm the waters. But once we take our eyes off Jesus, that's when it can turn into a complete and utter tornado, because that is when the enemy can just jump in and chuck everything, piles up. So to conclude this video, don't worry, God has everything planned out for you. During difficult times, focus on Jesus. Just pray, pray. Even if it seems like you're praying continually about the same thing, just pray and pray. Or if it feel like you're praying more or less all the time, just pray, because that talking to God, will calm those storms. And to always focus and never listen to the enemy. Whatever the enemy says, don't listen, because Jesus is the definition of calm. God has everything sorted out for you. Don't listen to whatever the enemy is saying, or not more like saying at you, but relenting at you.